Hello listeners, and welcome to this week's recording of Boomerang. Team 6 is here this week, and it's made up of Heather, Marcy and our engineer Gordon. Plus we have 2 readers you will recognise from Team 5, Rosemary and Sadie. The news this week is taken with permission from the West Lothian Courier, dated the 31st of July 2025. The news will be broken into 4 parts, and can I remind you that when you have listened to the whole recording, please post your wallet back to us from a post box and not the post office. First though, I would like to read the results of the questionnaire that we sent out to you recently. The questionnaire responses are as follows. We sent out 61 questionnaires and 23 were returned. There were no changes in information that was held by Boomerang. One of the questions was about players, and the news items that you enjoyed the most were interviews, music between parts, poems, some humour and light-hearted comedy. The comments and information we received was that, firstly, we appreciate all you do. We'd like to thank you to all the volunteers for their time. There's a good variety of content. Could there be articles from the Linlithgow Gazette? We enjoy the poems. Great hearing local news. Can we have more sport, please? What facilities are there in the area for the visually impaired? And this is suggestions as to who we might interview in the future. Interview with Livingston Football Club manager. Interview with local councillors or council leader. And a suggestion that we interview the editor of the Courier, which is a good one. And more news about the council meetings, anything related to Scotland, and the interviews are a big plus. So quite a varied response, and we thank everyone who responded to the questionnaire. It does help us for the future in developing the service. So now back to the news, and we'll start with part 1. Lead story this week. Shop team traumatised after robbery by balaclava yob carrying meat cleaver. And the article's by Chris Gourley. A West Lothian shop owner says he and his staff have found it hard after an employee was threatened by a thug brandishing a meat cleaver last month. Abdul Manan, who owns the Premier store in Armadale, says his team are getting there after a difficult few weeks in which one of his employees was pushed backwards by Greg Parker, who was holding a meat cleaver and demanding cash from the till. Parker, who was wearing a balaclava, was eventually traced and arrested by police. He pleaded guilty to several charges this week at Livingston Sheriff Court and was jailed for 4 years. Speaking to Edinburgh Live in wake of the armed robber being put behind bars, Abdul thanked the local community for their help and says people have been coming into the shop to check on the well-being of staff after the terrifying incident. He said, "It has been hard, but we're getting there. I think he maybe should have got longer for what he did, but I would say the police have been really good as it has been a quick turnaround. They worked on it very quickly and a lot of people tried to help out after it happened. There has been a lot of care. People still come and ask, especially now it has been in the news, they have been asking if we're doing okay. Since it happened, we're being a lot more careful and have been putting more staff on just in case something similar happens again." The staff member who was on is getting there and doing okay, but is obviously still a little shaken up. Overall, I'm happy he's behind bars and happy with the way police acted quickly and the community for helping so much. Shortly after the attack on June 26, CCTV footage was uploaded to the store's Facebook account as they appealed for witnesses to come forward. A terrified member of staff could be seen opening the till as Parker brandishing the bladed weapon and made off with a handful of notes. However, Parker's movements were captured on Ring doorbell footage and he was arrested by police at a friend's house. The 47-year-old admitted carrying out the robbery and behaving in a threatening or abusive manner towards his former partner before leaving her home in possession of a knife on February the 10th. He was also sentenced for offences including police assault and 2 counts of abusing retail staff. And now over to Marcy.
Road safety remains top priority for police officers by Chief Inspector Mark Patterson. This will be my last column as the Chief Inspector for Road Policing in the east of Scotland, as I will shortly be retiring. However, road safety concerns for Police Scotland don't stop just because I am retiring, and so I wanted to take this opportunity to provide readers with some useful information to help keep everyone safe on the West Lothian road network this summer. Over the past couple of months, and in particular since the fair weather started in earnest, we have seen increased pedestrian and bicycle traffic on our roads, and these vulnerable road users need to be extra vigilant. With that in mind, please give additional time and space when passing them, and be alert when approaching crossing zones. I would ask that cyclists, like motorcyclists, wear appropriate high visibility clothing and helmets to always ensure their visibility, and that pedestrians utilise designated crossing areas. Please do not attempt to cross a road from behind a parked vehicle, as this limits how visible you are to other road users. Road safety is a police priority, but it should be a priority for us all, so let's all take responsibility and take care of each other on the road. On the subject of motorcyclists, we launched our annual motorcycle safety campaign in March, and it will run through until September as we endeavour to reduce the number of fatalities involving motorcycle riders on our road network each year. Analysis conducted by Police Scotland and Transport Scotland examined fatalities involving 253 riders and 16 passengers between January 2015 and August 2024. In total, 18% of all fatalities were a motorcycle rider or passenger, despite motorcycles only being estimated to account for less than 1% of traffic in Scotland. Motorcyclists are one of the most vulnerable road users. Cornering left-hand bends and overtaking are the most common collision types. I'm asking bikers to be aware of these risks, take extra care, and in these situations and share this information. For other drivers, you are more likely to see a motorcyclist on the road from now until autumn, so take an extra look for them, especially in rural areas on a weekend. Losing control of your bike or failing to look properly can happen in a split second. We are running rider refinement classes with a road safety charity and doing targeted patrols, speaking to all road users, but we need your help to change behaviours. Please take responsibility and take care of each other on the road. Young readers might not want to contemplate a return to school at this time, but once the summer holidays are over, school zones will once again become busy during the mornings and afternoons. We'll have officers on the lookout for those who are breaking the speed limits, driving while distracted, driving at excessive speeds, or parking in obstructive manners. Road safety is everyone's responsibility, so please help us to keep all of those who use our roads safe at all times. And over to Sadie.
This article is called "The Big Weed is Danger to Public." A national trade body is urging the public in West Lothian to be vigilant to the dangers of an invasive weed that can cause injury in summer. The Property Care Association is putting the problems associated with giant hogweed on the radar due to public health concerns. This invasive non-native weed's sap is extremely toxic, making it a danger to public health. Contact with any part of giant hogweed followed by exposure to UV light, including the sun, can cause severe discomfort and blistering of the skin. Daniel Docking is Technical Manager of the Property Care Association's Invasive Weed Control Group. He said, "It is important to make the public aware of the presence of giant hogweed and the risks associated with exposure to it. This is highly invasive and it grows vigorously and its distribution and frequently is..." I'll read all that again. "This is a highly invasive weed that grows vigorously and its distribution and frequency is increasing over time. Every year there are reports of injuries affecting people who have come into contact with the plant, as it produces a skin reaction that is antagonized by exposure to sunlight. Blisters can occur 24 hours to 48 hours after exposure, and damaged skin heals very slowly. Children can be particularly affected as they can encounter the plant while playing outdoors in the summer. Some cases can lead to people needing urgent medical attention due to the severity of the blistering. Longer-term complications can emerge too, with the condition reoccurring over a period of years. Where this happens, the rash and the itching coming back every time the skin is exposed to UV light. The PCA has some pointers to help the public recognise giant hogweed, which can sometimes be confused with the UK's native hogweed, cow parsley or hemlock plants, but these are much smaller in size and the leaves have a smoother outline. However, the Trade Association strongly urges the public not to get too close to the plant to identify it.
This next item is headed £63,000 grant to help loneliness charity take over old school library and is by Michael Pringle. A community organisation in West Lothian has been awarded over £60,000 which will be used to acquire a former library. Spark, a charity based in the Craigshill area of Livingston, aims to reduce loneliness and social isolation. The social enterprise has been awarded £63,961 from the Scottish Land Fund, SLF, to acquire the former library premises of Beatley School campus. The group will continue to deliver a service supporting people in Craigshill and South Howden who would otherwise find themselves socially isolated. In addition, they will create a collaborative third sector hub where organisations share resources and support joint initiatives. The organisation was formerly known as Craigshill Good Neighbour Network, formed over 40 years ago but relaunched as Spark in 2017. It was established to help those who had moved to the area to meet, make new friends and share skills and experience. Alex Fleming, Chief Officer of Spark, said, "Spark are deeply thankful to the Scottish Land Fund for supporting us and taking this vital step towards community ownership of our building in the heart of our community. This funding means we can secure a long-term home where we can continue to grow, create opportunities and make a real difference to those who live, work and visit our community." The grant for the Livingston organisation was amongst 10 announced by the Scottish Land Fund, totalling more than £1.45 million. The Scottish Land Fund reopened to applications in April 2021. The programme is funded by the Scottish Government and delivered in partnership by the National Lottery Community Fund and Highlands and Islands Enterprise, both of which have extensive experience of helping communities to acquire and develop their assets for over a decade. Marie Goujon, Scotland's Cabinet Secretary for Rural Affairs, Land Reform and Islands, said, "Vibrant community spaces are the lifeblood of our towns and villages. Places where people can meet, access services, and simply enjoy being together. The latest awards from the Scottish Land Fund will deliver exactly that: welcoming, reliable facilities offering childcare, recreation and wider opportunities for local people. I warmly congratulate each successful project and look forward to seeing the benefits they will bring to their communities in the years ahead. Cara Gillespie, Scottish Land Fund Committee Chair, said, "The focus of this round of SLF funding has been on providing groups with the funds to secure spaces when they can come together as communities in both rural and urban locations, forging social ties and helping to meet local needs." Sandra Holmes, Head of Community Assets in HIE, said, "The successful projects announced today across Scotland are all great examples of people taking control of local resources for the long-term benefit of their communities. All these projects will help retain population, attract visitors and create jobs. Ownership will give community groups greater control over important assets that will reap rewards for people now and for generations to come. We wish all the successful groups the very best in their new ventures." And there are 2 photographs of some members of the group playing indoor bowls.
Attacked by fellow motorist at bus stop. Police in West Lothian are hunting a man who got out of his car and attacked a fellow motorist at a bus stop. The incident took place on Livingston's Knightsbridge East Road near Athol Way at around 8:35 p.m. on Friday, July 25th. A grey Kia Ceed stopped at the bus stop when another car pulled up alongside it. The driver of the Kia got out of the vehicle and allegedly assaulted the driver of the other car. The police have launched an appeal to trace the suspect responsible, described as white, around 6 feet, of slim build with balding hair. There was also a woman in the passenger seat at the time. Constable Louise Patterson said, "Our inquiries are ongoing to trace the suspect and we are asking anyone in the area at the time who may have information that could assist to get in touch. Anyone who can help is asked to contact Police Scotland on 101, quoting incident number 3861, or Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. And over to Marcy.
Fire hydrant warning for residents by Ian Bunting. Scottish Water is warning West Lothian residents that fire hydrant vandalism can cause widespread disruption and put lives at risk. Following a recent spate of incidents, the utility is urging people not to set off fire hydrants and calling on anyone who witnessed this type of vandalism to report it to Police Scotland immediately. Such incidents can cause disruption of water supply to customers, reduced water pressure or discoloured water, and localised flooding in streets. They can also result in water supplies for firefighters being adversely impacted and so hamper their ability to tackle fires, with an obvious increased risk to lives and property damage. Fire hydrants are a connection point to water mains and allow access to the water network, primarily for firefighting purposes. The frequency of fire hydrant vandalism can increase during warm, dry weather and the school summer holidays, and in previous years there have been a number of incidents, particularly in the Central Belt, which have wasted the valuable time of Scottish Water workers and firefighters and distract them from other priorities. Whenever there are a number of these incidents, Scottish Water has to bring in extra resources to tackle the problem, and this means its ability to deal with water-related issues elsewhere can be adversely affected. Kevin Roy, Scottish Water's General Manager of Customer Services, said, "Some people who vandalise fire hydrants may see their actions as harmless fun, but that's absolutely not the case. The reality is that homes and businesses can experience low water pressure or a loss of supply. Also, firefighters rely on these hydrants for fighting fires, and a shortage of water could endanger people's lives and property." He added, Fire hydrant vandalism is completely reckless and selfish, and communities need to help us put a stop to this behaviour before the unthinkable occurs. We're urging people to help us tackle the problem by reporting any incidents to the police immediately. Fire hydrants can be accessed legally only by Scottish Water, the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service, and anyone who has been given permission from Scottish Water. Vandalising or setting off a fire hydrant could lead to a fine of up to £5,000, according to the Fire Scotland Act 2005, Section 23. Anyone who witnesses fire hydrant vandalism can contact Police Scotland by phoning 101, call the independent charity Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111, or give the information anonymously on www.fearless.org. And over to Sadie.
This article by Nicholas Malizia is headed, "Couple feared they might die as fire breaks out in flat hall." A West Lothian woman has told of the horrifying moment she and her partner were trapped inside their flat after a fire broke out in the hallway of their building. Courtney Ramage, 21, and her partner Yasmin have been left traumatised after the blaze unexpectedly began in the middle of the night. The terrifying ordeal took place in the early hours of July the 8th, when the landing outside Courtney's flat on Church Place in Fauldhouse burst into flames. Courtney was outside for a smoke around 12 a.m. when Yasmin was sleeping inside the flat. When Courtney re-entered the building, she encountered a fire inside the stairwell. She told Edinburgh Live, "To this day I still can't sleep properly. This is the first time it's ever happened." Courtney ran back into her flat to awake Yasmin and grab her phone to call 999. However, the couple discovered the blaze was too large and hot for them to escape through the stairwell. Courtney added, "I thought I was going to die. I called 999. They told us to go into the living room and close the door. They told us to hang out the window to get fresh air and to put tiles in front of the door to prevent smoke getting in. We were screaming. We felt like we were going to die." A spokesman from Places for People, the housing association for Courtney's building, said they understood how worrying a fire in the building must have been for customers, and they checked on everyone following the incident to see that they were safe. Courtney says the landing retained smoke and fire damage following the blaze, and her asthma has been made more severe in the days following the fire. She added, "I'm already asthmatic, and having to walk through the soot and stuff has affected my lungs, causing me to have asthma attacks." Places for People said, "We carried out an immediate inspection after the fire last week. There were some works required now to repair fire damage in the hallway and doorways to some of the flats, which are scheduled in and will be completed in the next few weeks." A Places for People Scotland spokesman said, "We understand how worrying a fire in a building must have been to customers, and we checked on everyone following the incident to see if they were safe. We carried out an immediate inspection after the fire last week. This involved us speaking to customers about any damage in their flats, and we also had all common areas, including the hallway, cleared and cleaned to prevent soot contamination. There are some works required now to repair fire damage in the hallway and doorways to some of the flats, which are scheduled to and will be completed in the next few weeks. This will also include any cleaning or works required in individual flats, although one customer is refusing entry to do this. We can assume customers that we are working as quickly as possible to arrange for all works to be completed, and we have been keeping them updated regularly. Our number one concern is the welfare of customers, and we urge everyone to adhere to the fire safety guidance in place. And we urge everyone to adhere to the fire safety guidance in place so any further incidents can be prevented. A Scottish Fire and Rescue spokesman said, "We attended an incident at Church Place in Fauldhouse after receiving a call at 12:01 a.m. on July the 8th. We mobilised 3 appliances to a small fire on the landing of the property in a residential building. There were 3 casualties, all of which were treated by SAS at the scene and released. The last appliance left at 1:38 a.m. A spokesman from the Scottish Ambulance Service said, "We received a call on July the 8th to attend an incident on Church Place. We dispatched 1 ambulance and our special operations team to the scene. No patients required transported to hospital." A Police Scotsman spokesman said, around 12:25 a.m. on Tuesday the 8th of July 2025, officers attended a report of a fire within a common area of a block of flats on Church Place, Fauldhouse. Inquiries were carried out and have concluded. No further police action will be taken. Anyone with any further information is asked to contact 101.
And that brings us to the end of part 1. Welcome back to part 2, and we'll start with the family announcements. Mario Darling, 11/2/1968 to 27/7/2025, passed peacefully at Forth Valley Hospital with his family around him. Much loved brother and uncle, son of the late Tom and Ruth Darling. The funeral service will be held on Friday the 8th of August at 12 p.m. at West Lothian Crematorium, to which all are warmly invited. There will be a donation to Elyburn Adult Training Resource Centre. And now over to Sadie. And now over to Rosemary.
This item is headed Top Firm Gives Legal Career Tips and is by Ross Thompson. Top Firm Gives Legal Career Tips and is by Ross Thompson. Students across West Lothian are being offered live legal career advice from a top law firm during exam results week. With thousands of students across Scotland receiving their exam results next week, MFMAC, one of Scotland's Big 4 independent law firms, is launching a new initiative to support young people considering a future in law. The MFMAC Career Helpline, running from the August the 4th to the 8th, will provide live career advice for students during Scotland's exam results week. The initiative is designed to break down barriers and offer practical guidance for aspiring lawyers, particularly those without industry connections or mentors, and help parents navigate their children's career options. Through the helpline, students and parents will have the opportunity to speak directly with the firm's current trainees and members of the people team, gaining insight into legal pathways, university decisions, and what a career in law can look like beyond the traditional routes. Martin Glover, Chief People Officer at MFMAC, said, "Getting your exam results can be daunting, particularly for those without access to career advice or legal role models. Through this helpline, we want to give students and parents a clear starting point, someone to speak to, answer questions, and honest advice about what's possible. It reflects our broader mission to make legal careers more accessible, inclusive, and achievable for all." Jamie Stewart, a senior solicitor in MFMAC's commercial team, added, "When I got my exam results, I felt completely unsure about what my next move was or how to progress into any career. I had no close contacts in law and I didn't know who to ask for advice. This helpline offers students something I didn't have, a chance to speak to someone who understands your concerns. I'm proud to be part of something that helps you see there's always a way forward. Remember, your results don't define your future. There's always a path ahead. Students and parents can call the MF Career Line helpline on 0131 247 1060 The line is open between 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. from August the 4th to the 8th.
Council gives house plan green light. Article by Stuart Somerville. An East Calder family has been granted planning permission to replace a backyard workshop with a small bungalow. Planning officials recommended refusal for the application, saying it contravened rules about infill development. However, the chair of Development Management Committee, Councillor Harry Cartmel, said that a bungalow, which would be home to the applicant's mother, would be a better option for the area. He described the existing workshop as being of no architectural merit. Mrs. Lorna Hume applied for planning permission in principle to build the bungalow at the rear of 249 Main Street, East Calder, on the site of a workshop once operated by her father as a lorry maintenance shed. David Boyle, an agent for the family, said Mrs. Hume intended to move into the Main Street property while her mother would move into the new bungalow. He added that this would allow Mrs. Hume to fully support her mother while ensuring that both maintained their own space. He added, further down the line it may be sold. While there were no public objections to the proposals, planning officers recommended refusal. In written reports, they said the site is not of an appropriate location or size to accommodate a new dwelling at the rear of the existing building without impacting on the amenity of the existing houses and leading to a town cramming effect. A planning advisor acting for Mrs. Hume, who addressed the committee, said the report made a negative assessment of the proposal, as if detailed plans had been presented rather than the outline permission that was being sought. Councillor Willie Boyle told the meeting, I have sympathy for this application. It's about getting the right decision here. This is maybe an opportunity to enhance the amenity. I'm sure they could put something together, but I just don't have enough information yet. Damien Doran Timpson suggested that more precise plans would make it easier to make a decision. Councillor Cartmel said, I am swaying towards the applicant on hearing what the bungalow is actually for. Referring to the level of housing development in the village, he added, East Calder has changed dramatically over the last 10 years, and this is one small bungalow. Councillor Tony Boyle said he would move to refuse planning permission for the reasons put forward by planners. Councillor Tom Conn seconded this, suggesting that he would like to see more detailed plans. Councillor Cartmel said, There's no architectural merit to this building. Another business could come in and there could be a chance for more vehicles coming and going. What we are approving is permission in principle. We could tease out the details in future. He recommended granting permission on the grounds that the bungalow would improve the surroundings and would use a brownfield site. I'd be minded to grant, he added. Councillor Doran Timpson backed this, and in a vote, permission in principle with developer contributions was agreed. Over to Marcy.
Mum helps others after heartbreak of stillbirth by Cara Blackhall. A West Lothian mum who is grieving the death of her stillborn baby has raised money to help other families going through similar experiences. The family of Carson Cooper from Bathgate have been left heartbroken after the delight of welcoming their newborn baby was taken from them in February. Carson was due to make his entrance to the world earlier this year, but he was tragically born asleep at 37 weeks on February the 20th. Speaking on her tragic loss, mum, Nadine Cooper, 33, has been working to raise money to purchase cuddle cots to donate in memory of her son. She said if it wasn't for the cuddle cot, a cooling device that allows parents to spend extended time with their baby who has died, she wouldn't have been able to spend the precious days with her son in hospital. Nadine added, I hope my son is proud because they have been donated in his name. It's such a hard feeling to describe what it's like going through something like that. I set up the GoFundMe after I lost Carson because it was a distraction from everything that was going on. I lost Carson in February and I was 37 weeks pregnant at the time. You know situations like this happen, but you don't think it'll have ever happened to you. At 37 weeks, you are planning for the arrival, not to give birth and know he's not alive. We were based at St John's, and when I left the hospital, 3 families lost their child that week, and they needed a cuddle cot to see their child. I saw people who had donated cuddle cots to other hospitals, and I wanted to try to do the same. I have managed to raise enough for 2, and we are just waiting for them to be delivered. We are just so grateful to everyone who has donated and helped us with this. The fundraiser has collected over £5,000, and Nadine is glad to be able to help the hospital that were fantastic to them throughout the devastating process. The mum of 2 is expecting a 3rd child and is currently at 14 weeks. A description on the GoFundMe reads, "If it wasn't for the cuddle cot, I wouldn't have been able to spend the precious days with my son in hospital. These cuddle cots are so important to many families, and the NHS needs more of them. The cuddle cot provides grieving families the opportunity to spend time with their loved ones without needing to cool the entire room. This time allows families to create precious memories, enables mothers to recover from medication side effects, make arrangements without feeling rushed, and gives family members the chance to visit, all while keeping their loved ones close by. The cuddle cot can gently cool a preterm or full-term baby from day 1, thereby preserving their appearance, condition and dignity. The cuddle cot is compatible with any cot or bassinet. If the target for 2 cuddle cots is not met, 1 will be purchased and the surplus money will be given to the hospital to help towards their special dedicated family rooms where we spent a few days." And over to Sadie.
This article's headed "Posers Take Their Positions in Park," and it's by Ross Thompson. What started as a simple idea, an outdoor yoga session on a Saturday morning, turned into something much more meaningful for the Bathgate community last weekend. Hosted by Butterfly Yoga in support of West Lothian 50+ Network, the session saw over 50 people of all ages gather at the archery field behind Excite Bathgate. There were toddlers copying poses beside their grands, mums and dads stretching beside teenagers, and long-time network members sharing a laugh with first-time yogas. What stood out wasn't just the yoga, it was the mix. The easygoing atmosphere and open invitation made it less about perfect poses and more about connection, calm, and giving it a go. You had families across 3 generations, kids trying it for the first time, and some of our regulars who've been doing it for years said, Jamie Shear, charity manager at West Lothian 50+ Network. It didn't feel like a fitness session, it felt like proper community morning. That's what we need more of. The network, which supports people over 50 to stay active, social and connected, runs over 80 weekly groups across West Lothian, from walking clubs and exercise classes to art and coffee meetups. The funds raised on the day will go towards helping them continue that work. Once the stretches were done, nobody rushed off. People lingered, chatted, ate cakes in the park, and that's where the real magic happened. The yoga brought them there, but it was the conversations that made it something special. For more information on West Lothian 50+ Network and how to get involved, visit westlothian50plusnetwork.co.uk or pop into the Members Hub at 14 George Street, Bathgate.
Employment worries as new stats released. Less than 3/4 of people in West Lothian are in employment, according to research into UK business hotspots. Business energy expert Utility Bidder analysed a range of factors to determine which areas are the best for new businesses in 2025. They considered GDP, business survival rates, transport links, education rates, employment rates, office efficiency ratings to reveal the best and the worst local authority areas for Scotland's entrepreneurs to start their businesses. The data revealed that West Lothian finds itself at joint 8th place of local authorities in Scotland with the lowest employment rates. Clackmannanshire fared worst of all with less than 2/3 of people in employment, followed by North Ayrshire. West Lothian's 72.3% rate is better than both Glasgow City and Dundee City, but over 10% behind the highest rate in Scotland, 83.6% in Aberdeenshire. The employment rate for West Lothian is just 1.7% below the Scottish average of 74%, which compares to the national average in England of 76.8% and Wales at 73.2%. The research found that Edinburgh City has the highest GDP per capita of more than £60,700 and is the best place in the country to start a new business in 2025. Chris Shaw, CEO at Utility Bidder, said, "Small businesses, the lifeblood of Scotland's economy, accounted for 98% of all enterprises across the whole of the United Kingdom at the start of 2024. Scotland is a great place for new businesses to flourish. We considered everything from internet speeds and local qualification rates to the proportion of new businesses that survived the last 5 years, as well as employment rates across Scotland. From our study findings, we found that whilst the average employment rate across Scotland is 74%, we are doing well." The study can be found at www.utilitybidder.co.uk.
Military Museum plans street party. Article by Stuart Somerville. A military museum hunting for a new home has unveiled plans to mark the 80th anniversary of VJ Day with a street party. West Lothian's Military Museum has seen an upsurge in visitors and wider support in the months since it was revealed that it will have to relocate from its current home in the grounds of War-blind Veterans Estate at Linburn, Wilkesson. The museum owner, Ian Ingalls, revealed that they hope to attract more crowds. He said, "We will be open as normal on August the 15th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We will have a special exhibition on the Far East campaign, including a diorama of Bridge over the River Kwai, made by our resident modeller. Normal entry fees apply to the museum. We will also be having a street party between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m, and anyone is welcome to come along. There is no charge for that." He added that tea and coffee and juice will be supplied, but people should bring along food. There is no charge, but all donations are welcome. Ian also revealed there will be a talk by best-selling author Mary Monroe, whose book Stranger in My Heart tells the remarkable story of her father's escape from the Japanese occupiers of Hong Kong. Miss Monroe will be at the museum on the day signing copies of the book. Ian told the local Democracy Reporting Service, "Mary Monroe wrote about her dad's exploits in World War II. He was captured by the Japanese in Hong Kong and sent to a POW camp. He did manage to escape from the camp, and it's a fantastic book. There will be a few copies there to purchase that will be signed by the author." Founded by Ian, who served in the Royal Artillery, largely around his own collection of militaria, the museum has become an award-winning attraction. The museum has also become a community hub for local veterans and hosts weekly breakfasts and other events to keep ex-servicemen and women connected. The museum is also staffed by ex-service volunteers. "We're not just a museum, we're more than that. We're unique. We're a unique education resource. We have the Veterans Hub as well. It would be ideal if we could stay locally. We don't want to move too far away. We'd like to stay within easy access to the bridges. Such has been the success of the museum. The search has been on for a while for a new home in the area. The hunt has gathered new urgency since the charity which owns Lindburn, Sight Scotland Veterans, announced their intentions to sell the estate for housing development. The museum features indoors and outdoor exhibits of equipment, uniforms, vehicles, and even a First World War trench display. Somewhere nearby for a new home would be ideal as a new home, as Ian pointed out. The museum's growth in popularity draws visitors from across the UK and the world. Earlier this month, an American family rolled up from Edinburgh Airport, taking time out before checking into their hotel. We get a lot of that, and people going to the airport, he said, they have a few hours to kill before their flight, so they pop in here. Now over to Marcy.
Party at the Palace set to rock this weekend. Thousands of revellers are set to descend on Linlithgow this weekend for the annual party at the Palace Festival. While the cost of living has had a detrimental effect on almost everything, incredibly, festival organisers have managed to keep ticket prices the same as they were a decade ago for the two-day event. Among the family-friendly festival's biggest fan is West Lothian singer Susan Boyle, the surprise global sensation who shot to fame after her performances on Britain's Got Talent in 2009, will be joining the crowds this weekend. Sue Bow is a massive supporter of the festival and even has a framed Party at the Palace sheep poster on her wall at home. It is coming along to join in the fun, as usual, on Saturday and Sunday, August the 2nd and 3rd. She's even hinted to the organisers that she would love to play the festival herself in the coming years. The acts this year include Boney M, Squeeze, Tom Megan, Boys Life, Carol Decker, Generation GBX, Kevin Maguire and much more. There's also the famed comedy tent and strong food and drinks offering. Susan said, "I'm really looking forward to going to Party at the Palace again this year. I've been just about every year since it started. There's always a really friendly and relaxed atmosphere, and it's right on my doorstep too. They've never asked me to sing at it yet. Maybe they will one day." While Susan won't be singing on stage next weekend, she does love a crowd sing-along, so keep your eyes open. The stunning festival site boasts amazing views over Linlithgow Loch and Linlithgow Palace. Party at the Palace have frequently frozen their ticket prices and capped the capacity at 5,000 per day. That's below permitted levels to ensure it is a festival everyone can feel comfortable at. Festival director John Richardson said, "Obviously it's difficult time across the board for events, and a lot of things are all about the numbers. But we want to make sure the spirit of our festival community is right, and also that people can afford to come. So we have set ticket prices at the same levels as 10 years ago. You can legitimately get a ticket to see all these bands, a comedy fest and much more over 2 days for less than the add-on booking fees for a big stadium show. This festival is really special. It's all about families and fun, a welcoming environment and lots of room for everyone to relax and do their own thing when they want. That's really the core for us. People who want to come here every year to celebrate summer with us are the reason it's such a special event, and we want to make sure they have the best time every time. The festival is renowned for showcasing emerging local talent. It was the first test to book the Snuts, but long before they hit in arena stardom." John added, "This year, on the Green Fox Energy Breakthrough stage, there is a really strong lineup across the weekend, as always. Laurie Wright, Echo, Pistol Daisies, and very local talent Emily Evans jump out. But there's a lot of potential future stars there. It's something we are very passionate about and proud of. That's what Party at the Palace is all about, community. Well, that and Subo." Tickets are priced at £95 weekend or £55 per day for adults, £49 per weekend, and £25 per day for kids from http://partyatthepalace.co.uk. And over to Sadie.
This article by Stuart Somerville is about a £15 million fund to help charities across the county. A £15 million programme described as life-saving by West Lothian Third Sector is set to open the purse strings for its latest round. The fund, first launched at the height of the COVID pandemic, has so far delivered £2 million to local volunteers who promote better mental health within communities. Up to 150 grassroots organisations have been supported to help those most in need. And each year, West Lothian's share of the national pot, around £470,000, could have been spent 3 times over, given the number of applications. Difficult decisions have to be taken. For West Lothian this year, a further £470,000 will be made available. Applications to the fund will open in September, and around 80% of organisations will be considered for 2 years of funding to support their projects. It is expected that the Scottish Government will make a similar level of funding available for 2026-27. Alan McCluskey, the CEO of voluntary sector Gateway West Lothian, said, "This funding saves lives." The head of the local third section umbrella organisation added, "Over the past 4 years, £2 million from the Scottish Government's Communities Mental Health and Wellbeing Fund has been provided to 150 small grassroots organisations to support their initiatives. We know that the money helps organisations to support vulnerable adults across West Lothian from the impacts of social isolation, loneliness, poverty and inequality. It is fantastic that we will be able to help projects within much needed additional funding over the coming 2 years as well. The fund has been heavily oversubscribed every year, with applications seeking around £1.3 million annually. Funding helps organisations with costs such as staffing, equipment, venue hire, training and volunteer expenses. Projects have tackled social isolation, loneliness, mental health inequalities and supported those most affected by the pandemic. This includes projects supporting a range of at-risk groups, including women, particularly those experiencing gender-based violence, people with a long-term health condition or disability, and those from minority ethnic background. Volunteers who work with people affected by psychological trauma have also benefited from the fund since 2021, along with those who have experienced bereavement or with neurological conditions or learning disabilities. West Calder and Harburns Community Development Trust is one of the organisations which benefited. Good Connections supports people in the West Calder and Paulbeth area in access activities, services and opportunities that improve their lives. It uses a wellbeing link worker. It uses social prescription model whereby a wellbeing link worker offers a one-to-one to help identify what a client wants to get out of the service, what is available locally, and then supports them to access those opportunities. The project also provides activity groups where they are lacking in the area, such as walking, yoga, and arts and crafts for well-being. Matt Pearce, the manager of West Calder and Harburn Community Development Trust, said, "Good Connections has received funding from the community's mental health fund for 3 years now, and it has enabled us to support so many people during hard times in their lives. The impact has been huge. The project is run by West Calder and Harburn CDT and Pobeth Community Hub, offering support across the communities, including from our local community, Woods and Garden. It has helped hundreds of people find activities and groups get involved in to improve their mental health and supported them to access additional services as well. Adele Prendergast, the manager of Pobeth Communities Hub, said, 80% of people who access our project over the last 2 years have seen a meaningful improvement in their mental well-being, and 100% of our regular group attendees said that the activities had a positive effect on their mental health.
This next item is headed Charity Chiefs Call Meeting with Veterans and is by Stuart Somerville. Staff from Sight Scotland Veterans met with Lynburn householders who last month were given notice to quit their homes on the charity's West Lothian estate. The meeting at the Lynburn Centre's Centenary Hall at Wilkinson was described by the charity as ongoing engagement with tenants. In June, the charity announced a decision to sell off large parts of the Lynburn estate for decades war-blinded. In June, the charity announced a decision to sell off large parts of the Lynburn estate, home for decades to war-blinded veterans, for housing development. Residents have been given a year's notice. As highlighted by the Local Democracy Reporting Service, LDRS, earlier this month, some veterans fear they will be unlikely to find homes. The plan affects a total of 13 residential properties on the site, including 7 veterans with vision impairment and 6 private tenants. A spokesperson for Sight Scotland Veterans told the LDRS, Sight Scotland Veterans are committed to engaging with the tenants who live in the area of our Lynburn estate in West Lothian we are planning to sell to raise vital funds for the charity. They added, the meeting is part of that ongoing engagement. We have been exploring options for appropriate alternative housing after discussing each tenant's individual needs with them, and will be sharing what we have found out to date with the tenants. The announcements last month brought an angry reaction from local politicians. Labour leader of West Lothian Council, Lawrence Fitzpatrick, wrote to the Defence Secretary, John Healy, asking him to intervene immediately and help those veterans. Conservative group leader and ex-RAF serviceman, Councillor Damien Dorian-Timpson, urged the charity to guarantee a home for the veterans. In a letter to a resident local MSP, the SNP Justice Minister, Angela Constance, offered her support and added that she would seek a meeting with the Veterans Minister and said it was important he link in with herself and Sight Scotland. The charity has told residents to find new homes within a year as it revealed plans to sell the land for development. It comes after Sight Scotland veterans faced losses of more than £18 million over the last 4 years. The charity stressed it was working with residents and no one was facing immediate eviction. Some veterans said they fear spending the rest of their lives on the council's housing waiting list, which already has 11,000 names. One, Bill Mackey, who lives with his wife and 2 sons, who act as carers for their parents, claimed that the charity had plans as long ago as 2023 to clear the site for sale to developers and said this had been denied earlier this year by senior executives. The Mackeys have lived in Wilkinson for 10 years. I know I'm going to have to move, but why should I make it easy? Mr. Mackey told the LDRS earlier this month. He added, the thing is, our lease says home for life. Speaking to the LDRS last month, Craig Spalding, Sight Scotland Veterans Chief Executive, said, selling the land will secure the financial future of the charity. However, It will mean that the existing housing on the estate will need to be demolished. We recognise that we have a duty of care to the existing tenants and are committed to finding each tenant alternative living arrangements that are as good as, if not better than, their current accommodation. A local spokesperson told LDRS that the council has not received a planning application or granted consent for the redevelopment of the Veterans Village at Wilkerson. However, the charity has responded to a call for ideas with proposals for development at Wilkerson as part of the council's work to develop a new long-term local development plan. And there is a photograph of the resident, Bill Mackey, with his wife standing outside their house, and Bill is sporting a T-shirt with this message: "Proud grandpa of 2 awesome grandkids, and yes, they bought me the T-shirt."
And that brings us to the end of part 2. And welcome back to part 3, and we'll start with this week's quiz. As usual, there's 6 questions. Question 1. The Ebro is one of the longest rivers in which European country? A. Albania, B. Poland, or C. Spain? Question 2. Which spirit is in a screwdriver cocktail? A. Rum, B. Vodka, C. Gin. Question 3. Which golfer won the US Masters in 1997 at the age of 21? A. Phil Mickelson, B. Tiger Woods, or C. Justin Leonard? Question 4. What is the telephone dialing code for Glasgow? A. 0191, B. 0161, or C. 0141? Question 5. Spirit in the Sky was a UK number 1 in 1970 for which American singer? A. Norman Greenbaum, B. Neil Young, or C. Scott McKenzie? And question 6. I love the smell of napalm in the morning is a quote from which 1979 film? A. Moonraker, B. Apocalypse Now, or C. Kramer versus Kramer? And now back to the general news. Selmsmuir Proposals Please MP, article by Michael Pringle. The proposed site of the Selmsmuir Green Hydrogen Project near Livingston was recently visited by constituency MP Gregor Poynton as he continued his support for the landmark clean energy development. Accompanied by representatives from Hygiene and European Energy, the joint venture behind the project, the MP was briefed on plans for a 20-megawatt green hydrogen electrolyser co-located within the already consented Selmsmuir Solar Farm. The innovative development, shortlisted in the UK Government's second hydrogen allocation round, HER2, would produce up to 6 tonnes of low-carbon hydrogen a day and play a key role in decarbonising transport and construction across West Lothian and central Scotland. Gregor Poynton MP said, "This is exactly the kind of ambitious job-creating green infrastructure West Lothian and the Livingston constituency needs. The Selmsmuir project has the potential to power our buses and construction sites, drive us towards clean energy by 2030 and create skilled local employment in the process. I'm pleased to be backing this project in Westminster and in the constituency, and will keep pressing ministers to ensure hydrogen funding decisions are made on time so that this vital development can move forward to the next phase." The project team confirmed that work is progressing with the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero, DESNZ, on final due diligence, and that discussions with potential off-takers, including Lothian Buses, JCB and Wrightbus are already underway. By pairing on-site solar power with hydrogen production, Selmsmuir aims to demonstrate how locally generated renewable electricity can support the decarbonisation of sectors that are traditionally hard to electrify. The development could reach final investment decision shortly after a successful HER2 outcome and be operational within 2 years. The project also aligns with the UK Government's 10 GW hydrogen target and the Scottish Government's net zero commitments. The MP for Livingston has previously written to Minister of State for Industry, Sarah Jones MP, to advocate for the project and has committed to further pressing DESNZ on timeline commitments and support for transport sector hydrogen in the forthcoming UK Hydrogen Strategy refresh. Mark Evans, European Energy Vice President for UK and Ireland, said, "We were delighted to welcome Mr Poynton to the Selmsmuir site last week to outline how a proposed 20 MW green hydrogen project can complement the consented Selmsmuir solar farm to drive the decarbonisation of key sectors in West Lothian and Central Scotland." Having been shortlisted for HER2 funding earlier this year, we are now working with DESNZ on the next phase of the process, and we look forward to continued engagement with local people and industries as the project progresses. Kevin Selzglas's hydrogen CEO added, "The Selmsmuir project is a key part of a long-awaited nationwide hydrogen supply network, and the visit from Gregor recognises the importance both of this scheme and of the role hydrogen will play in our journey to net zero. This project is unique in its ambition. It will enable deployment of the UK's first fully zero-carbon municipal bus fleet, whilst simultaneously enabling the business case for the delivery of a fully consented renewable energy project." And now over to Marcy.
Protect public water. Fiona Hislop, MSP, has highlighted how action taken by Scottish Government is protecting residents in West Lothian from spiralling water bills. The MSP for Linlithgow has pointed to the public ownership of Scottish Water as the reason for the water bills north of the border being a fifth lower on average than residents in England and Wales. Figures show that the average water bill in England and Wales is £603 a year, almost 20% higher than the £490 a year average in Scotland. Fiona said, following a major review into England and Wales's water industry, which shows that bills will soar by over 30% in the next 5 years, it is clear that while England's water companies are run for profit, Scotland's are run for public benefit and ensures that Scots pay far less for their water. By ensuring Scottish Water is in public ownership, the Scottish Government have kept costs down for my constituents across West Lothian, who receive high-quality water for a lower cost. Over to Sadie.
Right, house prices rocket above Scottish average. House prices across West Lothian rose by 74% in a decade, a new council survey has revealed. That outstripped the Scottish average rise of 42% in the years 2013 to 23. In 2023, the average house price in the county was $210,000, compared to a Scottish average of $185,000. A report to councillors said West Lothian ranks 10th of Scottish local authorities for house prices. However, it is notably cheaper than the other regions surrounding Edinburgh, such as Mid Lothian and East Lothian, making it a more affordable option for Edinburgh-based commuters. Average house prices in West Lothian range from £229,000 in Linlithgow to £145,000 in Whitburn and Blackburn. The largest increase in house prices have been around Broxburn, Winchborough and Livingston, all of which have seen major new developments in the last 12 years. The change over the decade has been striking. The largest price increases have been in Broxburn and Livingston South wards, where house prices have risen £95,000 in the 10 years from 2013 to 23. The smallest rise, £18,000, has been in Bathgate, where prices rose from an average of £128,000 to £147,000 in a decade. New homes are now at the most affordable in the Armadale and Blackridge and Whitburn and Blackburn wards at £179,000 and £145,000 respectively. Whitburn and Blackburn is the only ward area which saw a fall in the numbers of new homes being built. Infrastructure improvement, including reopened railway stations such as Armadale, has helped boost house building in the town, along with neighbouring Blackridge, where developers see potential for competitively priced homes. The former Brickworks site in Armadale is one of the largest brownfield sites in the county, earmarked for redevelopment. The Council Business Development Team relied on Scottish Government statistics to provide a picture of the economic and financial health of the county as the basis for its draft economic investment plan, which looks at 2035.
This next item is headed Baby Boxes Delivered to Families and is by Michael Pringle. New figures have revealed that over 60,000 baby boxes have been delivered to families across the NHS Lothian area since the launch of the scheme. Amond Valley MSP Angela Constance welcomed the stats that show that 61,390 families have taken up the offer. The baby box is offered to every newborn in Scotland and contains a range of items such as clothing, books and a digital thermometer, all aimed at giving children the best possible start in life. The box can also be used as a safe sleeping place if necessary. The boxes and items contained within also promote equal opportunity by ensuring every baby, no matter their background, receives the same strong beginning. Across Scotland, over 346,000 baby boxes have now been delivered to the parents since the programme began in 2017. The scheme continues to receive high levels of satisfaction and feedback from parents, with many reporting that it helps them feel supported and better prepared for the arrival of their baby. Angela Constance, MSP, said, "It's heartening to see that over 61,000 families across Lothian have benefited from the baby box. It's a clear sign of the Scottish Government's commitment to supporting new parents and giving every child the best possible start." The baby box is just one of a number of important initiatives, alongside 1,140 hours of free early learning and childcare and the Scottish Child Payment, which are helping to reduce inequalities and support families through those early and important years. In Amond Valley and across Scotland, this scheme is making a real positive difference. I'm proud that Scotland is leading the way when it comes to supporting families.
Council will be told the cost of cyber attacks. Article by Stuart Somerville. Councillors have been given an assurance that they will learn the full costs of the recent cyber attacks on West Lothian schools. Following dramatic arrests of suspects involved in the attacks on stores including Marks and Spencer's and the Co-op, there's little sign of similar breakthrough in the investigation, which has been ongoing since May. And while it could be a year before the live investigation is wound up, senior officers told councillors before the recess that online systems should be fully operational by August, and the eventual costs would be delivered to committee. At the last meeting of the Audit Committee before summer recess, Committee Chair Councillor Angela Doran-Timpson asked, "Is there a timescale for when it will be possible to know the costs?" Deputy Chief Executive Graham Struthers told the meeting, "It's an ongoing live criminal investigation. There's a limit to what I can disclose in a public forum. Once we have restored the education environment, which is of course separate from the corporate environment, we'll then have an indication of the costs incurred and a future update will be given to the committee." He added that technicians were working to restore the education platform over the school holidays. A report from the Audit Committee said, "As investigatory works are ongoing, it is not possible to estimate with any accuracy the exact cost for the Council of this cyber incident, either in terms of initial and ongoing response, but also restoration of the network and associated systems." The Council does, however, recognise that the cyber incident liability will result in additional and unbudgeted costs for the Council. The report added, "This remains a live criminal investigation with the Council working with Police Scotland, the Scottish Government and other external organisations and agencies to investigate the full impact of the incident and restore systems." A Council spokesperson told the LDRS the recovery phase of work to restore services back to normal is ongoing, and we will have a new education network in place for the start of August 2025 term to support learning. A small percentage of the total data stored on our education network has been compromised, but only a very small proportion of the files that were compromised were of a personal and sensitive nature. There is no evidence that any data was compromised from the majority of our schools. There is, however, evidence that a small amount of information held by a number of our secondary schools and one primary school was compromised. The spokesperson added that parents and carers had been offered advice on online security and added, "This is an ongoing investigation, and if there is a need to contact parents or carers in future, we will do so. For further information on security, go to www.westlothian.gov.uk/cyberattack. And over to Marcy.
ACDC ticket prize. The 17th Scouts Group in Broxburn is offering rock lovers the chance to win 2 tickets to see ACDC at Murrayfield Stadium in a few weeks' time. Be prepared to win 2 standing tickets for the legendary Australian Rockers gig when the Power Up Tour comes to Edinburgh on Thursday, August the 21st. Proceeds from the ticket prize draw are being used to fund the cost of the Explorer Scouts camping trip of a lifetime to Norway, which includes tents, equipment and kit for the outdoor adventure. The tickets are standing only in the main stadium arena. Unfortunately, no under-14s are allowed in this section. There's only a couple of days left to enter, with last entry this Thursday, July the 31st at 9 p.m. To enter, visit HTTP raffle, enter raffle 2 tickets, Power Up Tour Edinburgh 2025, hosted by Jen Barr. And over to Sadie.
This article is about a charity football match and it's by Michael Pringle. A keenly contested football game between high-flying staff at Edinburgh Airport and medics and support workers from Edinburgh Children's Hospital from Edinburgh raised over £3,000 for the hospital's charity. The teams met last year and had such a great day that they decided on a rematch at Broxburn Athletic Stadium on Sunday, July the 6th, and despite the weather, the turnout was double that of last year. Both teams were led out by their respective CEOs, Gordon Dewar from Edinburgh Airport and Rosalind Neely for Edinburgh Children's Hospital Charity. Among the spectators were airport mascots Eddie the Pilot and Sky. Edinburgh Airport staff from across the airport hold a number of events throughout the 2-year charity partnership to raise money and awareness of the fantastic work the ECHC team does for children and their parents. ECHC supports life-changing work of Edinburgh's Royal Hospital for Children and Young People and work tirelessly to provide seriously ill children and their families with the extra support they need when facing a life-changing hospital visit. With the help of the public, ECHC helps to speed up patient recovery and aims to allay their fears by providing reassurances, distraction and comfort every step of the way. Peter McDougall, security officer at Edinburgh Airport and one of the charity champions who organised the game, said, "A huge congratulations to Edinburgh Children's Hospital Charity for their well-deserved 5-2 win. The weather was typically Scottish, but that didn't dampen anyone's spirits. It was a brilliant day with a lot of laughs and good football. We've raised more than £3,000 so far, and with donations still open, we're hoping to boost that even further with such a fantastic cause. There's still time to donate at www.justgiving.com/page/Paul-McDougall-9, and there are colourful pictures of the event with the action on the field and the smiling participants."
This next item is headed "Acclaimed Play Heads to Theatre" and is by Ross Thompson. An acclaimed play by one of Scotland's best writers kicks off its Scottish tour in West Lothian in September. The Junkie Miracles, which premiered 3 years ago at the Gaiety Theatre in Ayr, has been taken on tour around small theatres in various locations, mainly in the West Central Belt. This innovative production tells the stories of 4 addicts from different walks of life who have hit rock bottom and are tumbling into the abyss. Only 4 miracles can save them. In an inexplicable coincidence, each of them on the same day is hit by the realisation that all hope of getting back to some semblance of their previous existence is gone if they don't do something immediately. Some of the main performers are recovering from their own addiction, whether that's alcohol or drugs, and their stories reflect their own and others' roads to recovery. The play is the concept of highly successful Glasgow writer Des Dillon, who said, "I asked these people to tell me about the worst day of their lives, the day they hit rock bottom, and what made them want to recover. Here, they do that to great effect. Their stories are unique, but also largely unheard because of the stigma around substance abuse. How they got there in the first place, the depth to which they plummeted, and how they tried to get back on the road to recovery, and whether or not they succeeded." He added, "Coming back out of that in some way or another doesn't mean they're all necessarily happy endings either." When the play was premiered at the Gaiety Theatre in Ayr in the late summer of 2022, one observer noted the empathy felt for the characters by the audience, which was drawn from all parts of the community. Since then, the production has been under self-scrutiny, development and planning. The tour opens at the Regal Bathgate on September the 5th. It then heads to Stirling and venues in Ayrshire and Lanarkshire before closing at Dumbarton Civic Centre on September the 27th. The Junkie Miracles performers represent a large, but largely hidden, proportion of Scottish society whose voices have been stifled because of the stigmatic predicament in which they find themselves. Scotland's drug problem remains the worst in Europe, with an estimated 60,000 people blighted by the addiction and an unknown number of regular users. The latest statistics from Public Health Scotland, June 2025, say that Scots are drinking 50% above the safe limits, with those in in more deprived areas 6 times more likely to be hospitalised or die from alcohol-related causes compared to those in less deprived communities. The Junkie Miracles will be performed at the Regal Theatre in Bathgate on Friday, September the 5th. For ticket information, visit the Regal's website.
And that brings us to the end of part 3. Welcome back to part 4. And we'll start with the answers to the quiz and then some general news and finish with a bit of sport. So, the quiz answers. Question 1. The Ebro is one of the longest rivers in which European country? And the answer is C, Spain. Question 2. Which spirit is in a screwdriver cocktail? And the answer was B, vodka. Question 3. Which golfer won the US Masters in 1997 at the age of 21? That was B, Tiger Woods. Question 4. What is the telephone dialling code for Glasgow? That was C, 0141. Question 5. Spirit in the Sky was a UK number 1 in 1970 for which American singer? That was A, Norman Greenbaum. And question 6. I love the smell of napalm in the morning is a quote from which 1979 film? And the answer was B, Apocalypse Now. And the next article is Artist Wooed Hero Ozzy Before His Death, and it's by Ian Bunting. A Scots artist wooed legendary rocker Ozzy Osbourne with his portrait of the Black Sabbath frontman less than 2 weeks before the icon passed away. The music world was stunned last week with the news Ozzy died at the age of 76, surrounded by his loving family. Ozzy was a hero to David McDonough, who runs his own business, Louis L. Paintings, and works on comic book art, portraits and pop art. David finally got to meet the heavy metal star in the singer's hometown of Birmingham on July the 12th and was thrilled by his response to his colourful artwork. David told the West Lothian Courier, I met Ozzy in Birmingham a week after his Back to the Beginning farewell gig. After years and years of trying to meet him, I finally got the chance to shake the hand of one of my heroes and show him my artwork. When he saw the painting, he responded, That's nice, that. I like it, which blew my mind. I also got to meet Sharon, Jack and Kelly Osborne, and they were such a friendly bunch. It took me a week to come down from the meeting, and then the heartbreaking news came in yesterday about Ozzy passing away. I cannot believe he's gone. It's so sad. He was a music legend and an icon to so many. I will never forget meeting Ozzy. David added, I called my first bulldog Ozzy, as we got him when the Osbornes TV show was on. When I met Jack, I gave him some artwork of Lola the bulldog from the show, and he was really chuffed. David has shared special moments with many famous faces from the world of film, music, football and wrestling, including Andy Serkis, Robert Carlyle, The Undertaker, Ali McCoist, Stone Roses frontman Ian Brown, Meatloaf and Liam Gallagher. He said, working as an artist is my dream job. That's what I wanted to be when I was at school, but it got knocked out of me when I was told it wasn't a real job. But I proved that it's a real job, and the timing was just right to become a full-time artist as I was juggling a full-time job with painting at night. I decided it was getting too much and handed my notice in and just went for it, with great support from fellow artists. To view and purchase David's awesome artwork, visit his website, https://louispaintings.bigcartel.com/ and there's photographs of him with Ozzy and also with Sharon and Jack, and a picture of Jack holding the picture of the bulldog. And over to Marcy.
Young Superstars Following the Yellow Brick Road to Oz by Michael Pringle. The fabulous superstars of a West Lothian theatre group for young people followed their Yellow Brick Road for their latest stage production. Star Harmonies presented The Wizard of Oz on 2 dates at the Reconnect Theatre, Howden, Livingston on May the 31st and June the 1st. Established in 2012, you can always rely on the musical theatre group to put on a fantastic show, and this season was no exception. Previous Star Harmonies productions have included Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Annie, Beauty and the Beast, The Addams Family, to name just a few. All staff members have musical theatre degrees, and each also has a wealth experience in their specialised areas. They are also fully PVG disclosed. Children aged 3 years to 18 attended Polbeth Harwood Church on Tuesday evenings, where they were able to learn skills in singing, dance and acting, whilst the emphasis is on fun and friendship. Everyone is a star at Star Harmonies, which considers itself to be one big happy family. Classes resume on Tuesday, August the 19th, and if you'd like to register interest, email starharmoniesmusicworkshop@gmail.com. And Real Pride as 10 Years Marked in Style by Ross Thompson. West Lothian Pride marks its 10th anniversary with a colourful parade in Livingston. The procession made its way through various streets before the Pride Village and entertainment took place at Howden Park Centre. In a statement, West Lothian Pride said, "A massive thank you to everyone who came out yesterday to mark our 10th anniversary so special. Your energy, love and support truly made it a day to remember. A heartfelt shout out to our amazing venue host Howden Park Centre and their brilliant team who go above and beyond to support us. To our iconic hostess and fabulous Miss Titch Yu, with us since 2019 and a core part of the West Lothian Pride family. Thank you for bringing your sparkle, heart and humour. Pride wouldn't be the same without you. To all the stallholders who helped create such a vibrant and welcoming Pride Village, and of course to our incredible volunteers who worked tirelessly to make the day possible, we are endlessly grateful." And there's pictures of them on the stage, and there's an ambulance crew, and there's a lot of fluoro jackets and a lot of people looking very happy. And over to Sadie.
This is an article about a photography festival by Kaya Marjoriebanks. The work of 3 award-winning photographers capture communities in Scotland will be showcased at a major new exhibition. The annual photography festival will return for an 8th year with the theme of Beyond and opening with 4 exhibitions in August. Events run through September with highlights including talks and exhibitions from contemporary photographers Ron O'Donnell, Simon Murphy and Jennifer Charlton. In partnership with Street Leaving Photoworks of Glasgow, the organisers are honoured to host internationally acclaimed photographic artist Ron O'Donnell in what will be his first exhibition in the city of his birth. The festival will open with his exhibition at the Tall Booth in Stirling from Saturday the 2nd of August until Saturday, September the 27th. Ron was born in the Raploch area of the city in 1952, and although he has exhibited in collections all over the world, this will be the first time he has held an exhibition in his hometown. His return marks a poignant chapter in a career which has spanned 5 decades, multiple continents, and both analogue and digital revolutions in photography. Encouraged early on by art teachers and inspired by the city's Smith Art Gallery and Museum, Ron began his photographic journey as a trainee at the University of Stirling's Department of Education. He went on to study photography at Napier Technology College, now Edinburgh Napier University, where he is now a senior lecturer in photography. Ron is celebrated for his vibrant and humorous constructed images, which often explore themes of myth, allegory, identity, mortality and politics. He said it's a privilege and a real pleasure to be invited to participate in the 2025 Stirling Photography Festival. As someone born and raised in Stirling, it feels like a homecoming. I began my journey in Stirling, so it's wonderful to return to the place where the seeds of my creative life were sown. He added, "It is with great pleasure and satisfaction that I exhibit my work in my birthplace." Excuse me. For this occasion, a wee retrospective felt appropriate, a journey through images from early works to the present. Sorry. The exhibition includes street photographs of Edinburgh taken during the 1970s, capturing the spirit and atmosphere of the city at the time. The collection then moves towards more constructed imagery, culminating in digitally composed works that reflect a shift in both technique and vision over the decades. Stirling Photography Festival creative director and founder Janie Meikle Brand said, "We're looking forward to hosting our 8th festival and are delighted to have secured 3 amazing exhibitors who will each bring their own unique perspective to our festival and its 2025 theme of Beyond." She added, "The festival has gone from strength to strength since we started in 2018 with our Stirling Youth Photo Fest, and last year was a major success with lots of support as we marked Stirling's 900th year."
This next item is a short one headed Indie Day for Traders Hailed by Poynton. Livingston MP Gregor Poynton has marked Independent Traders Day 2025 by visiting one of West Lothian's best-loved local businesses, Dewars Family Butchers in West Calder. Dewars, a family-run butchers in Union Square, has quickly become a West Calder institution, and there are plans to expand with the opening of another shop in East Calder over the summer. Gregor's visit aimed to shine a light on the vital role businesses like Dewars play in creating local jobs, supporting community life, and keeping money in the local economy. Speaking during the visit, he said, "Independent businesses are the beating heart of our towns and villages, and there's no better example than Dewars here in West Calder. They have supported local jobs and served the community with pride for years. Independent Traders Day is about recognising the value of brilliant local businesses like this."
And now for a round of sport. Monarchs scupper Scunthorpe's bid in battle. Edinburgh Monarchs fought back to beat Scunthorpe Scorpions 50-40 on Friday, despite falling 8 points behind in Heat 4. The win at the Eddie Wright Raceway was sewn up by Heat 13. Team manager John Campbell said, "It was a great performance once we got going. The whole team did well. I was very happy with him, and we can do well in the rest of the season." A large travelling support got behind the team, and Swedes Victor Palovaro and Jonathan Gran started with wins in the opening 2 heats. There were ominous signs to follow as the Monarchs lost 2 successive 1-5s, and it looked at that point like Gates 1 and 3 had a significant advantage, but the visitors gradually overcame that. A 5-1 from Palovaro and Paco Castana in Heat 5, a tenacious effort from Justin Segman 2 heats later, and Kai Thompson drew them level. Michael Pam Toft had been warned for jumping the start, but he didn't let that worry him as he eased ahead in Heat 9. Backed again by Gran Erning Monarchs the lead for the first time. Scunthorpe looked like they might have got something back in Heat 10 until Zane Kennedy fell heavily trying to use the wide line. In the next two heats, Sedgman and Castana both showed what could be done with great rides off Gate 4 to win thrilling heats. Pam Toft eased clear in Heat 13, with Palovara adding the win to make victory virtually certain. Thompson had a hard-fought second in Heat 14, the first home advantage since Heat 4, and with any of the Monarchs' top six looking good enough for a Heat 15 pick, it was handed to the Heat 13 pair again to add 3, taking Monarchs to 50. Monarchs face Berwick Bandits at Armadale Stadium on Friday at 7:30pm. Over to Marcy.
Rovers upset Linlithgow in curtain raiser. Gaffer Gordon Hurd says his Linlithgow Rose side shot themselves in the foot as they crashed to a 2-1 defeat at home to Gala Ferrydean Rovers in their Lowland League opener. Rose got their season off to a poor start at Prestonfield despite Gala being down to 10 men for over an hour, as Lewis Hall picked up a second booking inside 26 minutes. The visitors were already 1-0 up by that point, as Ethan Dougal fired past Cally Binney in 21 minutes. They went 2-0 up through a Danny Galbraith penalty in 83 minutes to secure their first ever league win over Rose, and an opening victory for any kind since 2017, with Dylan Patterson's stoppage time header mere consolation. Hurd said, "It's disappointing. We shot ourselves in the foot and gave Gala an easy goal. They've huffed and puffed for the majority of the day. In the first half, I thought we looked slow and laboured, didn't move the ball at a tempo, and Gala had a game plan to come in and sit to catch us on the break, and it worked. The second half for me was much better. We had a wee bit more urgency. There were more runs in behind in the final third, but the second goal has killed us. It gives us a massive uphill task. We've got that goal at the end, but the quality in the final third was missing massively. We've not really tested their goalie. We've had plenty of the ball, which you're going to have against 10 men, but just that final third has caused us issues. Rose were due to visit University of Stirling at Forth Bank last night, Wednesday, before a lengthy trek to Gretna, 2008 on Saturday. Hurd added, "It's disappointing, but it's a long season and this isn't going to define the league campaign. We just need to pick ourselves up and go again on Wednesday. If they give us a wee bit more of what we had in the second half, with that bit of quality, we'll not be far away. But this wasn't a good day at the office. I've no complaints. We didn't do enough to win that game." And over to Sadie.
This article is about the Lions by Andy McGilvery. Graham Carey says Livingston have the quality and mentality to thrive in the Premiership and know how to win games. The Irish winger looks to the example set by Dundee United in their return to the top flight last season, but says the Lions have a better squad. Carey caught the eye of boss David Martindale when he scored a scorching winner for St Johnstone in the Scottish Cup last season and watched Livingston's playoff final win over Ross County to return to Scotland's Elite League. The 36-year-old former Celtic youth liked what he saw and is pleased to be on board this season as the Lions prepare to visit Kilmarnock. He said, "Because I knew there was interest, I was watching them in the playoff final, and when we, St Johnstone, played them in the cup last year when we beat them, we should have been 3 or 4 down at half-time. Compared to some of the teams I played against last year, with St Johnstone, this team, I feel, is better than quite a few of them, and we've added some quality and experience as well. We know how tough this league is, we know it's going to be tight, and we just feel like we have the quality in the squad and the mentality that the boys built last year by winning a lot of games. Former Plymouth, Argyll and Ross County star Carey says Martindale played a huge role in his decision to join the West Lothian club after St Johnstone were pitched into the championship. He said, when I spoke to the manager in the summer, he said some of the problems they had in games last year were when teams were in a low block and they found it difficult to break teams down at times. That's what he brought me in for, to be creative and add to the culture we have here as a winning team. People want to score goals and they know how to win games, and if I can help that throughout the season, that's great. It was quite an easy decision, especially when I looked at the facilities that we have here and the new pitch that was going down. It's like night and day compared to last season. It's really enjoyable to play on and to train on. I've known him over the years against playing his teams, and I've always found it difficult.
And this next item continues the football theme. It's headed Spirit Pleased Broxburn Coach in Celtic B Defeat by Paul Thompson. Broxburn Athletic coach Lewis Turner was pleased with the character his side showed against Celtic B in Saturday's Lowland League opener, despite falling to a 3-2 defeat. The Alban Park side took an early lead through John Robertson after just 12 minutes, but they could only hold on to that advantage for 3 minutes before Rhys Dargay levelled for the young Hoops. Dargay then fired the hosts in front after 31 minutes, and an own goal from Andy Rodden in 10 minutes into the second half left Broxburn with a mountain to climb. But Robbie Hamilton sparked hope of a comeback by pulling a goal back in 76 minutes. Broxburn battled for an equaliser, and although they couldn't find it, Turner was pleased with the spirit they showed. Turner, who is taking charge in Stevie Pittman's absence for family reasons, said, "Last season, I think that kind of game would have got 4-1, 5-1 or 6-1, but credit to the boys because they showed great character to get a goal back. And for the last 15 minutes, we were by far the better team and deserved to take a point from the game. In hindsight, we gave them too much respect and sat off them a bit. They were really good, make no mistake about it. Their movement was good, they were sharp, and obviously they're practising their runs and moves 5 or 6 days a week. But I'm disappointed because for me, when you score 2 goals in this league, you should never come away with nothing. I said to the boys that we have got goals in us, but we need to stop conceding so many silly goals. I still felt we played well. We went 1-0 up, and then 3 minutes later, we lost such a soft goal, and that changed the game. I thought they had a lot of the ball without creating much. We had a good shape about us, and when we got forward, we looked dangerous. But their goal to make it 3-1 was a bit of a sucker punch. There's still plenty of positives to take from it. On Tuesday night, Broxburn lost 2-0 at home to Culloden Braves, and on Saturday they welcomed Berwick Rangers kick-off at 3 p.m. Turner added, "I'm looking forward to Saturday. Every game is massive and a real challenge. To come away from the Braves game with no points, it's important to get off the mark to ease the pressure on the boys. Going into the game on 0 points, it heightens it for the boys because you can't get left behind in this league if you want to be up there challenging."
And that brings us to the end of this week's recording. We hope you have enjoyed it. So until next time, it's goodbye from this week's team. Heather, Marcy, Sadie, Rosemary, our engineer Gordon, and our copier Sheila. Goodbye.